brand designers don't actually know what they're doing. And no, I'm not talking about creativity. I'm talking about everything else that makes a designer a pro. What if I told you that mastering brand design isn't about talent or creativity? What I've noticed is that the best designers in the world aren't even that skilled. They just know something that most designers don't. And in this video, I'm breaking down exactly what you need to master brand design like a pro. Have you ever looked at those top designers and agencies and thought, how do they make branding look so effortless and high-end? I used to feel the same way. I used to feel intimidated and wonder if I'm ever going to be like that. I would scroll through endless case studies, obsess over beautifully designed projects. But what I noticed is no magic formula to this, and there's no overnight success. It's really all about taking action, mastering the right skills, and consistently pushing yourself to learn and grow more. Step 1. Master the fundamentals of design. Now, obviously, if you want to be a brand designer, the bare minimum is having some design skills, and that means having a strong foundation on different design principles. So you want to understand stuff like color, font, layouts, and so on. So let's talk about color first. Color is one of the most powerful elements in branding, and it's not about choosing some nice shades. It's literally about understanding how color affects emotions, perceptions, and how a brand is received. And the different elements when it comes to color. So one is obviously the emotional aspect, but also the differentiation aspect. Is it different from your competitors? And then also the color psychology part of it. There are so many different parts to it. So if you're going to go to basics, it's important to understand the color wheel. Primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, understanding basic color relationships. Then we have complementary colors, which are opposite colors and how they create bold contrast. And then we have color psychology in branding, where each color evokes different emotions and brands use this strategically. So red typically evokes passion and energy. So Coca-Cola, Netflix, YouTube. Blue reflects trust and security. So a lot of tech brands usually use this, like Facebook, Twitter, PayPal, Visa. And then you have orange, which reflects energy and enthusiasm. So brands like Fanta, Nickelodeon, and SoundCloud. Now, just because color has a conventional meaning doesn't mean you can't break some rules. You just have to do it with intention. What this means is you need to know the rules before you can break them. And once you understand how color psychology is used, you can learn how to maneuver and use it for your advantage. Then number 2, understanding typography and font selection. Fonts are just important as colors because they reflect the tone of voice in your brand. Now more than ever, we interact online with brands first rather than offline. We don't have the opportunity to have a person or one of our employees speak to the customers. So basically text is a way to do that. And the right font can literally set the tone for your brand. So let's go quickly through some font categories and what they communicate. Serif fonts usually evoke something that's classic, timeless, and trustworthy. They're best for luxury brands, editorial, or professional businesses. Sans serif fonts have a clean, modern, minimal look, and they're best for tech brands, startups, contemporary businesses. Slab serif fonts look bold, strong, and confident. Best for sports brands, automotive, durable products. And then you have display fonts, which are unique, creative, and statement making. They're best for entertainment, bold identities, and playful brands. And the same thing with colors. You don't have to always go the conventional route. Your font choice isn't also just about aesthetics, it's about storytelling. And the best brand designers know how to use typography on a deeper level. And they use it to craft a brand that feels intentional and purposeful. There's so many other parts that come into design fundamentals like layout and spacing and grids. But this isn't a design lesson. So I would encourage you to Google or YouTube design fundamentals of brand design. Or maybe who knows, maybe I'll make a video on that. And number 2, designing passion projects over bad clients. Now this is just my take on it, but I think that instead of wasting time with working with low paying or cheap or bad red flag clients, you can be your best dream client. Most designers I know rush to take on low budget clients because it means real work. But I actually think that passion projects are way more powerful to attract right clients. In the past, I used to take on some really bad clients and I would think like, oh, I could use the work in my portfolio, and guess what? I never used that work in my portfolio. One, because I didn't even have a great experience working with the client and I didn't want those negative vibes on my portfolio. Number 2 is the work wasn't even that great. And my most popular projects have been passion projects. What I love about passion projects is you are in control. You define the style, the strategy, and the vision. And you can build a portfolio that attracts better paying clients. And instead of waiting for your dream clients, you can create the type of work that will attract those dream clients. And basically, I feel this makes you a pro because you are refining and you are building a portfolio that is stronger than working with a red flag client. And this is the most underrated step, mastering communication and thinking like a strategist. Being a pro designer isn't about the actual design work. Okay, it's not only about the design work. It's about thinking critically about branding decisions, understanding a business's real problem, and listening more than you talk. What I realized over time is most clients don't actually know their problem, and it's our job to uncover the real issue. They might think they need a rebrand, but through a conversation, you might realize maybe it's actually their messaging or their audience clarity, or their brand positioning that's the real issue. So basically, how should you approach client conversation? Focus on discovering rather than selling. Don't rush to sell a solution because, as you know, everybody hates being sold to. The more you uncover, the more the client is going to trust you as an expert. And the biggest difference between amateur designers and professional designers is they ask questions and they know how to listen. It's also how well they communicate and uncover the real pain points of a business. Also, another thing is, as designers, we tend to have design egos, and don't lie, because we all do. And we tend to think that we know more than the client when it comes to design. Sure, that may be the case, but honestly, the client is an expert in their business industry. So we need to listen to them too. And I think a huge reason why a lot of my clients like to work with me is because I have a process and because I really dig deep into understanding the business first. I don't like to talk about design first. I really want to understand why they're starting the business, who's their target audience, what are their competitors doing, where are they located, what do they look like. Honestly, the key is asking a lot of questions, but the right questions. And if you're someone who struggles or gets nervous while being on a Zoom call, try practicing with a friend, or feel the fear and do it anyway. In the beginning, I used to stutter a lot. I didn't know a lot of business terms, but honestly, the more you practice, the more confident you're going to get. And when clients see that you're confident, they feel confident to work with you. Being confident in your work. Honestly, this is something that you can't teach. It's something that you develop over time. Some people talk about fake it till you make it. That actually works. Imagine the most highest version of yourself as a designer. How would they sound? How would they act? How would they sit on a call? Another way you can do this is by going on YouTube and studying the greats, seeing how the people that you admire and you aspire to be, how do they act? How do they talk? What is their tone of voice, and learning how to articulate that properly. Also, understanding different design terms and business vocabulary is going to really help you in your sales calls. I realized when I learned all these different design terms, I just felt way more smarter and much more confident in the work that I'm presenting. And don't worry if you get it wrong the first or the second time. Don't worry if you're stuttering, because honestly, you just need to keep on practicing. And if you fail, don't worry about it, because only from failure you will learn. If you keep on always getting it right, you're not actually learning anything. Presenting your work like a pro. This kind of annoys me because so many times I see such great work out there, but people don't know how to present their work. It's usually some random JPEGs and using really bad mockups, but the actual concept is really strong. Even the best design can fall flat if not presented properly. And a strong presentation does three things. It tells a clear story, why this brand identity exists and how it solves the business's problem. Number two, it's visually engaging. That means using really high quality mockups, understanding how to present work when it comes to layout and spacing and negative space. Three, it's presented on a lot of different platforms. Right now, we need to be able to present our work on so many different platforms like Behance, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and you want to make sure that your case studies are flexible for those different profiles. So having the case studies in landscape formats, and having it in Insta story formats, reel formats, then post formats. Basically, you just have to make sure that your case study is also very flexible. And I'll leave you with this. If you can confidently present your work and explain your thought process, you're already ahead of 90% of the designers. I don't know if that statistic is true, but let's go with it. So yeah, that's basically my tips on how to master brand design like a pro. You gotta master the fundamentals, create passion projects, learn how to communicate and listen, present your work with confidence and clarity, and keep learning, experimenting, and growing. The designers at the top did not get there by luck. They really put in the work. So if you're really serious about brand design, start implementing these steps today. Let me know in the comments what part of brand design do you struggle with, and if you want me to expand on that in another video. And always don't forget to like and subscribe so that it motivates me to create more content. And I'll see you in the next video.